Hello and welcome to Military Mayday. We're pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. Got 3 articles for you here we're going to read. They're pretty short, small articles, but they're kind of important, I think. St. Petersburg Governor says Russian soldiers who have seen gender-neutral bathrooms in Ukraine understand what they are fighting for. Now, I couldn't put it any better myself, to be honest with you. We'll read through that one. It's a shorty. Here's the undisclosed number of RuAF Mi-28N choppers. They're deployed in Donetsk. They're compatible with one of the Apaches. Basically, you know, it's nemesis. I guess we could say. We'll read through that. It's not a big article. This week in World Affairs Brief, will the DOJ prosecution of January 6 protesters get turned around? According to this article, they think that the Supreme Court will turn it around. We'll get into them, but first, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, help me out, help others get this information. Let's get started here. St. Petersburg Governor Alexander Beglov says that Russian soldiers have seen gender-neutral bathrooms in Ukraine schools and therefore understand very well what Russia is fighting for. There is no need to explain what values we're defending to these guys who, instead of bathrooms in schools, one for girls, one for boys, have seen 3 bathrooms, one for girls, one for boys, and one for gender-neutral people. Below said he was deeply moved by soldiers and they understood perfectly. The rest of this is in Russia. There's one of the pictures of him. And, you know, I don't read Russian. That's about all the article, but that's quite the statement, and yeah, it makes sense. I like it. We're going to go here to this one. Reports on January 9th revealed the Russian army has sent Mi-28 attack choppers to dismantle Ukrainian bases and assault troop gatherings in Donetsk. The insufficiency of the Ukrainian air-to-surface missiles reserve puts frontline units in a disadvantage, lacking proper defense mechanism. This void allows the enemy's forces attack helicopters and fighter jets to exploit, supplementing Russians' substantial and mounting firepower superiority. Coupled with their artillery and surface-to-surface missiles, the pressure surmounts against the Ukrainian front lines unit. Ukraine's ammunition limitations in recent months have significantly reduced their artillery units' resistance capabilities, including their premier mechanized brigades, necessitating to decrease in ammunition usage due to severe shortages. Expectations for the situation to worsen are high, given the cessation of American military aid after the last arms package was delivered in December. And they use a lot of ammunition, by the way. I think I put out a report, or put out a video on a report about they use double or triple the amount as what they really should be using. Here's the Mi-28. Russia's Mi is a modern attack helicopter succeeding the Soviet-era Mi-24, which is regarded as comparable to NATO's top attack helicopter, the AH-64 Apache. The latest involvement of these helicopters in Ukraine is a significant point of concern. While the United States chose to modernize its existing Apache, Russia opted to generate an entirely new helicopter model for the 21st century, the Mi-28 and the Ka-52. This bold venture has endowed them with numerous advantages over the international competitors. The armament. Each Mi-28 possesses an impressive payload capable of wielding up to 16 anti-tank missiles or 80mm rockets. They showcase distinguished flight capabilities highlighted by their unique ability to soar backwards. When compared to the Apache, they demonstrate superior firepower, enhanced survivability, and a simpler maintenance process. In the battlegrounds of Ukraine, the Mi-28 is predominantly armed with the 80mm, 122mm rockets alongside the 9M120. The first recorded use of the LMUR missile was in January 23rd. Offering a 15-kilometer range and integrated inertial, satellite, and optical guidance and impeccable accuracy. Most recent iteration of Russia's premier attack helicopter was combat tested the counterinsurgency operations in Syria. The formidable performance display in these operations is believed to have significantly influenced by the defense minister's decision to sign contracts for the procurement of an additional 98 units. I don't really need to hear that. 2020 Russians MIK attack gained significant traction against Ukraine armor on 2022 onwards. This is a response to a large-scale offensive launched by the Ukrainian military. So these are bad boys, and they're going to kick ass. And we'll just hear about it, probably read more about it, see more about it. Will DOJ prosecution of January 6 protesters get turned around? The tide is finally turning against the weaponized Department of Justice, exaggerated and unjust prosecution of the January 6 protesters, the vast majority of whom did not engage in violent action but merely walked through the Capitol after the doors were held open to them by Capitol Police. Additionally, an estimated 200 agent-provocateurs made up of federal agents and Antifa activists dressed up like Trump supporters led the way in tearing down barriers and inflicting damage on the Capitol and provoking other Trump supporters to participate in some of the violence. Most protesters remained peaceful, however, until the police unnecessarily fired rubber bullets at close range and launched tear gas flashbangs into the massed protesters. Even deep state former AG under Trump, Bill Barr, sought to redeem himself after betraying Trump by saying that the current Justice Department went too far by prosecuting individuals who merely walked into open doors and hung around. Speaking to Fox News, he admitted, "I don't think it was an insurrection. New documentaries are emerging highlighting the plight of people unjustly prosecuted or goaded into pleading guilty under onerous threat of 20 years in prison or others for obstruction. One person even committed suicide over this threat, even though the prosecutor later admitted he was never going to actually use the obstruction charge against him. This bizarre charge, extracted from the administrative law having nothing to do with Congress, is now before the Supreme Court and is likely to be overturned." So, a little more info for you. I can't believe they've even been there this long, really, to be honest with you, and all the crap going on. It's quite crazy. I'm not a Trump supporter, but putting people away like that for nothing whenever you got a lot of atrocities going on in America, it's crazy. Anyways, like, subscribe, toodaloo.